petit café de minuit, on voit de très jolies filles. Soyez tous les bienvenus au paradis de minuit.
The Renault Megane is back, and this time it's electric. There's no more petrol and diesel Meganes on sale, so this has to be a good replacement. But of course, Renault does have form when it comes to building electric cars. They were involved in the Formula E Championship, so they would have built up a lot of expertise in energy management and building electric engines. They also built the Renault Zoe, which was one of the pioneering compact EVs of the last 10 years, and also for a while it was one of the best small EVs that you could buy. But times have changed and the game has moved on. There's a lot more competition now, particularly in the mid-size hatchback space that this Megane competes in. So in this video we're going to take a closer look at this new Megane to see what it has to offer. I'm Caroline Kidd and you're watching the Carzone YouTube channel. Remember, you can find more Renaults for sale on carzone.ie, Ireland's trusted motoring marketplace. Before we get into the rest of the review, please click subscribe to stay up to date with all our latest videos. So let's start with the pricing. The new Megane E-Tech is available with two battery sizes. There's the EV40 that comes with a 40 kilowatt hour battery, and that starts from about €37,500. Then there's also the EV60 with a 60 kilowatt hour battery, and that starts from about €42,000 with a range of up to 450 kilometres. So the Megane is not a cheap car anymore, but it is competitively priced when you compare it to rivals like the Volkswagen ID3, the Cupra Born, the Nissan Leaf and the Kia Niro. But the MG4 of course undercuts them all. But if you're looking for one of the most stylish electric hatchbacks, then I think look no further than this new Megane E-Tech. The design language is what Renault describe as sensual tech. Only the French would describe design language just like that. But I think you can see it's quite voluptuous looking. You've got this nice detail in the bonnet, this big front end, and a very dramatic lighting signature as well. I really like these new LED headlights. It's kind of got concept car looks really. So the extended wheelbase, the wheels have been pushed out to each corner. They're big wheels as well. There's 18 inches standard, and then the Techno and above get these big 20-inch wheels. I think they look really good. There's a range of paint colours. This is called Midnight Blue. And then of course you've got some really classy touches like these hidden coupe style door handles. There's also the high window line. So altogether, I think this car really stands out as something very special on the road. At the back, the final flourish is this full width light bar and scrolling indicators, just like that. But is it practical? Well, let's take a look. It's a really deep boot, I have to say. It's 440 litres, which is one of the biggest in the class. It's bigger than a Volkswagen ID3, Cupra Born, and also a Nissan Leaf. Only a Kia Niro EV actually trumps this. Now it is deep and there's quite a high lip here. There's no false floor or anything like that to create a flat sill. But in terms of the outright volume, I do think it's very good. It's got a really lovely cabin. It's very classy. It's certainly a step up from the previous generation of the Megane. Renault says that the cabin of this new E-Tech model has been inspired by the world of fine home furniture. And certainly you can see that in some of the fabrics that are used, like this textile on the top of the dashboard. And then there's also some Alcantara here in the door panels. So overall it's really nice. The seats in this Techno model are made from recycled materials. Because it's a new generation Renault interior, it's also big on glossy digital tech. So you've got this full digital driver display and also a 9-inch touchscreen that comes as standard. There's also a new steering wheel. It's flat at the top and at the bottom. So overall, I think it's a really great cabin. I think it's one of the best cabins now in this segment for electric hatchbacks. There's also loads of storage space. Look at all this space down here. It's really excellent. The new trim levels for the Megane E-Tech include Equilibra, Techno and Launch Edition. This one that I have is the Techno. But whatever version you go for, you do get this 9-inch touchscreen, and that comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But on this trim level, it also has an Android operating system, which is really, really excellent. There's so much functionality in that, and it integrates with Google Maps, and there's also the Google Assistant as well. So for example, if you're planning journeys, you can tap into your destination and it'll show you how much battery charge you'll have when you get there, which is really excellent. It gives you a little bit more confidence in the range that you actually have. It also has the Google Assistant, so you can get it to do things for you. Hey Google, can you adjust the climate control to 20 degrees?
Sure. Changing the auto climate control to 20 degrees.
So that's really useful as well. And you can also have a little bit of fun with it. Hey Google, can you tell me a joke?
Why can't elephants use computers? Because they're scared of the mouse.
Yeah, so it'll tell you some really silly jokes as well. So hours of entertainment. Other standard features include air conditioning, there's a rear view camera, there's also a heated steering wheel, heated front seats, and lots of standard safety and driver assistance features. The doors open nice and wide for a hatchback. And this Megane E-Tech is built on a dedicated electric vehicle platform, so it is an efficient use of space inside the car. For example, there's a flat floor, the width here of the rear bench, so everybody gets equal leg room. But I do think this car is probably more suited to 2 back here rather than 3, particularly adults, because this middle seat is on the small side. I've plenty of leg room. That driver seat is in my driving position, but it's not huge back here either, and headroom could be a bit tight for taller passengers, and they'll also have to duck their head getting in and out of the car because that roofline is quite low there. There's no armrest here, but there is 2 USB-C ports in this mid-range Techno model. The Megane E-Tech's party piece is its 22 kilowatt AC charging, and that's something that it's inherited from the Zoe. Now most cars will only allow maybe 7 kilowatt or 11 kilowatt AC charging, so it does mean that you can charge quicker with this at those more plentiful 22 kilowatt chargers that you'll find in many Irish towns and cities. So I think that is a real advantage for the Megane E-Tech. DC fast charging is also possible from the CCS port here, and the EV40 can charge up to 85 kilowatt, and then the EV60 like this one can charge up to 130 kilowatt. The EV40 uses a 40 kilowatt hour battery with a projected range of up to about 300 kilometres. Then there's the EV60 that I'm driving. It has a 60 kilowatt hour battery and a projected range of up to about 450 kilometres. Now the battery is thinner than what was used in the Renault Zoe, and the electric motor is also lighter in this new generation Megane. You get more power if you go for the EV60 as well as more range. So there's a 220 horsepower electric motor versus 130 horsepower in the EV60. It's clear from behind the wheel that Renault has put a lot into developing this new Megane because it's really nice to drive. All the controls feel very natural and well weighted, and it's not a hot hatchback, obviously. There's a bit of lean in corners, but it does handle the road well. It is very nice to drive. I think the best thing is just how refined it is and how comfortable. So there's more insulation in this car. For example, there's soundproofing foam between the battery and the floor of the car, and also thicker door linings as well. So it gives that kind of cocoon effect that we often associate with more premium cars. So I certainly think this new Megane E-Tech is one of the best electric hatchbacks in its class to drive. The driving position is also really good as well. It's definitely improved over the Zoe, because in the Zoe it often felt like you were sitting on top of the battery, whereas this, certainly you feel at one with the car. It's a very natural driving position, more like any other petrol or diesel hatchback actually. There's plenty of power, so in the EV60, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is 7.5 seconds. And there's also multi-sense driving modes, so you can access that from a button here on the steering wheel. There's a sport mode, for example, and that just gives you a little bit more livelier acceleration. But even in the normal mode, I think the Megane E-Tech is good fun to drive. There's definitely plenty of power. There's also an eco mode that you can slot it into, and that will maximise your range. There's also 4 levels of regenerative braking. So when you brake, or even when you lift off the accelerator, some energy goes back into the battery, and it's simple to adjust that from these paddles on the steering wheel. The EV60 has a projected range of about 450 kilometres measured by WLTP industry standards, but like all these EVs, that's a little bit ambitious. I think in winter driving you could expect between about 300 and 350 kilometres, and then in warmer weather perhaps you could get more than that. But the car is efficient, I have to say. So at the moment I'm averaging about 15.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. And when I was on the motorway earlier cruising, it was running at about 16 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. So that is very good, I have to say. So overall, I think Renault has done a really good job with this new Megane E-Tech, particularly in comfort and refinement. It's a really good driving experience here behind the wheel. Renault has done a really good job of designing this new Megane E-Tech. It's not cheap, but it is one of the most stylish and classiest electric hatchbacks you can buy. It's also very practical with that big boot and 22 kilowatt AC charging. So if you're in the market for an electric hatchback, this has to be on your list. Remember, you can find more cars for sale on carzone.ie, Ireland's trusted motoring marketplace. And if you've liked this video, please click subscribe to stay up to date with all our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.